So here we're back at the car. Can't see it but it's right here. So I've been told by a few people, and I've noticed it myself, that I have a saggy rear end. Alright, under the car. Gonna do something about my saggy springs. You saw my springs, right? I'll show them to you. So anyway, I got the car jacked up. Jack stands on holding the body, and then holding the rear right now, block of wood. I do have another one over here of these that I need to cut down, and probably cut down too, so I don't need these other pieces of wood. But anyway, that'll support the axle. Like I said, I had the bottom shock mounts disconnected on both sides. Next thing will be to get this out of the way. Take off these bolts for the U-bolts holding the springs of the axle, and then we'll take down each spring. So we'll get those puppies off. Once the springs have tension off them, these blocks will hold the rear up. That's why I need another one over here. Here are the springs. As I mentioned before, they are ride height plus 1 inch. So we'll get those on there. So that's the beginning of this project. Alright, so I kind of suspected that these bolts, where are they? Where am I? Right here. For these U-bolts that holds the bottom shock mount, I had a feeling they were going to be very difficult to get off. These threads aren't in bad shape here, but the threads on this one, they're very deteriorated. I tried to take them off with my 1/2-inch socket with the breaker bar, and they won't budge. I have all new hardware. All I really need is this bottom mount. So I'm going to use my cutoff saw, and without screwing up the brake line, I'm going to try to just grind this right off. Get rid of these bolts. Be the easiest way. Like I said, I have all new bolts, all new hardware, and that's the best way to do it, I think. Alright, I got one off. The other one, I think I'm probably going to have to take the tire off and get in there. I was hoping not to have to take all the tires off, but I think that's what's going to have to happen. Alright. Okay, it's going to be hard to see in here, and I apologize for that, but not too bad, I don't think. So in here is 4 bolts that hold on this upper, or the front mount for the springs. And you can see I got all of the U-bolts off, and rear is just kind of hanging there now, so there's a lot of weight off of these springs already. So really all I have to do is take those 4 bolts out. I actually broke one, lower this bottom spring, and then take off the rear shackle, and we'll get at least one off today. See, that's pretty wiggly. Like a wiggly, piggly, wiggly. Huh, how about that? That's one off. And like I said, I did break one of the bolts here, so I'm gonna have to wind up knocking that out because I need this. All right, here we go. See if I can get the rear shackle off. All right, so I got one of the old leaf springs off. Let's see where I'm at so far. This is the front mount. I just wound up chiseling out, or driving out, I should say, this pin that was, this is the front mount, and would have been right there. I got this mount to take off. This is the rear mount. Not really sure how these come off. It looks like this is swaged or swaged or whatever they call that, where it's actually sort of welded, if you will, for lack of a better term, or pressed. So I think, I'm not really sure how I'm going to get this off. I don't need any of this hardware, so I may just wind up cutting it off with the cutting wheel. But let's see what we can do with that. The other side is still on. If you can see that, this side is off. So let's see what happens. All right, I was able to get that bushing out. Really difficult. I don't know if you can see here. I tried to pound it out, which probably wasn't a good idea. It probably needs a press, but I don't have a press. But anyway, I don't know if you can see in there, but I distorted that circle a little bit. I'm going to try to manipulate that back into a little round cylinder. But I think it'll be alright. I already used the other bushing and it does fit in there okay, so it should be fine. That's what they always say. Where are we at now? Okay, got the new leaf spring in, front mount, painted that up a little bit. That gets put through the holes right there, and we'll be right back. So there's that mount. Where is it? Right here. This is the back side of that mount. So got 4 bolts. I actually broke one, so I'll have to replace one. Actually may have to replace that now, because once the spring is on, it may be difficult. So I'm going to go out and run out and get a bolt to fit in there. Okay, I went to Home Depot and picked up some grade 5 washers and some nuts. So I'll replace that broken one, and we will move forward. Alright, replacing the rear mount, leaf spring mount. It's held in by held in by two bolts. Where's the other one? My Kmart ratchet manual. Alright, so I made a mistake. You have to, here's the mount for the top, or at the top of the, or the front of the leaf spring. And obviously I can't put this bolt through. And the nut part of it is supposed to be on the outside. So obviously you have to put this front leaf spring part in here first and then attach this to the frame. So little mistake. I'm going to take this one off and we will do it the right way. That's what that looks like. Another mistake. I think I had this other bolt in. There we go. So not too bad. Let's see. Okay, you got the rear shackle installed. That wasn't too hard. Had to use a little dead blow hammer to get them to go in, but went in pretty easily. What am I doing now? Well, I'm bringing down this jack so that I can get the U-bolts on, and that hole has to go into that stud. So bringing this down a little at a time. See how that works. All right, here are the components to this part of it. You got the shock mount, which goes on the bottom, and you have this that this is the rear axle that rests on this stud, and then this is all new hardware. I have these U-bolts that go over top, and hold everything together. So let me get that on, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, that's one that's on. This is a shock mount. Throw that back on. I don't know if you remember, I broke shock mount taking off the shocks. It's in an earlier video, but you can see that fiasco. But that's one on here now, and we'll go try to do the other side now. All right, second spring is out. Probably will have the same issue I had getting these mounts off, but I got the other ones off, so the time will tell. But there's the other one, and that's the new one on this side. Now, a lot of these things have to be torqued down properly. I'm just having everything in place and all the bolts kind of in one place. You're supposed to, I think, lower the car and then re-torque them. So, all right, we're gonna try to get this one done. Okay, man, I'm tired. But anyway, let's take a look. Let me get a light, hold on. I'm extremely pleased. Let's put it that way. I have to still do some tightening up though. One leaf spring there, one new leaf spring here. And here's what I really want to show you guys. The stance on this is perfect, exactly what I want it. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see here, but if you remember, it's sitting a lot lower than this. So we'll take it out in the daylight and do some comparison, but I'm really happy with the new stance. And yeah, that's it for tonight because I'm tired. See you guys. Okay, it's the next day, back underneath the car. Just going over a few little details for this. there's the torque specifications for the specific bolts and hangers and U-bolts and everything like that. So what I'm doing now is going to check each of these. Front hanger bolts are supposed to be 30 pounds. Front hanger, rear and front hanger, 30 pounds. The pivot bolts, which are the bolts that go through the ends of the leaf springs, they're supposed to be at 60 pounds. So what I'm doing now is going through with the torque wrench. Where am I? I'm going through with the torque wrench and getting all these up to spec. So we're going to be working on that. Leaf springs, like I said last night, very happy with them. I'm going to show you some different pictures of the stance of the car in a little bit. Alright, that's it. Alright, I thought I would mention also that I did replace that bad muffler hanger. And like I said before, until I get a influx of money, I am putting just this little down pipe off the back of the muffler, so it ends up right behind the rear axle. There's a shot underneath of the new exhaust, and yeah, I think that'll work out all right for now. On here, I also did a little touch-up job on the back here. I don't know if you saw in the videos, but it looked like it was like bad body work, but it was actually a bad spot of paint. So I taped that off today and just reshot that. Looks a little better for a homemade paint job. Okay, so this is the test drive after doing the suspension. I did take it out for a little ride yesterday when I was finished. Like that exhaust. Anyway, other than the stance of the car, which I'll show you in a little bit, I'm going to take you to a place that we were at already for the exhaust video, and park in the same spot, and you can see the difference between the two. I'll try to take some snapshots too of what it looked like before and what it looks like now. But as I was going to say, other than the stance, which I really like, it also feels a lot tighter. It was really sort of saggy and wiggly and wobbly in the back end, and I can already feel that it's much tighter, especially around some turns that I took earlier. Just feels like it's not swaying or leaning into the corners. So I'm pretty happy with the spring setup. So yeah, we'll show you some pictures in a little bit, and I'll be back. So here's another little test I wanted to do. This is what I call the speed bump test. Let's see if I get anything on the back. Let's see, we got another one up here. Just to check the clearance, make sure that I'm not scraping on anything with the new exhaust system. So I got some speed bumps here. This is, I call, excessive speed speed bump alley. There's like 6 of them in the span of I don't know, maybe 100 yards. Okay, pretty happy with that. Not getting any muffler or tailpipe system or anything like that running. Okay, I'm going to take you out of the car. We'll get an idea of the stance now. This is approximately the same place I was last week, so you can get an idea of the stance of the car. So not an outrageous amount of lift, but definitely a lot higher in the back, as you can see. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Alright, so that's the end of those 2 projects. At some point I will get a tailpipe, I guess, for the back of the car. I don't smell too many fumes in the car, so I'm not really worried about it dumping behind the tailpipe. The suspension, the leaf springs feel really good. I'm happy with that. I think the next thing we'll probably do, and I don't know if I'll get to this winter or if I get to it in the spring, but anyway, the 2-barrel manifold and the 2-barrel carburetor. Along with that, I have to put in a new throttle cable, kickdown cable, and also a new accelerator pedal, which I have here somewhere. They use a cable system accelerator pedal with the 2-barrel carburetor. So instead of a rod linkage, it's a cable linkage. So that is what's next in store for this 66 Dodge Dart. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Please check back and watch some other videos. Please subscribe if you're just watching this. I really could like to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm sitting at about 220, I think, right now. Okay, thanks again. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you later.